Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. But before we start, you gotta check out these new monitors I got.
Livido on the beat.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Damn. Alright, so what did you guys think of that intro? So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to create a bass displacement in Adobe After Effects, just like this. But before we start, I quickly want to talk a little bit more about my audio monitors that I just got, because I'm super excited and super stoked about these. Because since I've got these, a lot of things changed audio-wise, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it so you understand also how important audio actually is. So Atom Audio sent me over these T7Vs as monitors, and I also have a T10S as a sub. So that's a pretty beefy setup, but I actually got inspired to get these from my bro Livido. He's a beat producer, and he actually produced that intro song together with Redneck Beats, and they are actually both working with Atom Audio. And when I heard the actual sound quality coming out of their monitors, I had to reach out to Atom Audio because I had to have that for myself as well. In the filmmaking world, it's super important to work with crystal clear audio and just to know what we're working with. Before this, I actually had $100 Logitech speakers that I had for many years, and you might think that the sound is good enough until you reach that moment that you're actually listening on these Atom Audios, and it's a complete different world. You can just feel and hear all the layers that are into the audio. They are called monitors because they don't modify the sound in order to feel warmer like consumer and speakers. They are made for industry professionals to hear exactly what that sound would be, and then if you would play it on speakers, it would sound right or it would sound amazing. But if you would work on consumer and speakers, you will actually boost the basses a little bit too much or put a little bit too much in the high tones, and when you play them on these monitors, they might actually be completely distorted. So in order to avoid that, all these music producers or soundtrack producers use monitors instead of speakers. So if you want to check these out for yourself, I will put a link in the description below where you can find more about these speakers. And yeah, let's continue with the tutorial. Alright, so right here we are in Adobe After Effects. I have my footage right here, and I'm going to drag this into a new composition. So after that, I want to create another composition by clicking right here and making sure that it's a square composition. So I'm going to make it 1080 by 1080 in height. And then I'm also going to rename this circle. Click OK. And then we're going to right click here, create a new solid, make it white. And we're going to call this circle. Click OK. And then we want to go over here and select the ellipse tool for the mask and double click it. That will create a circle because we're working in a square composition. And now we want to open up the mask options here, and we want to create a keyframe like around half a second. And we want to create a keyframe for the mask expansion, bring it down a little bit and feather it just so we know that the feather isn't exceeding the edges here. So that's really important. Now we go back to the beginning and lower this even more until we don't see that circle anymore. And there we have it. So we have this expanding. Now I want to click on the mask and duplicate it with Ctrl D on the keyboard. And we're going to go to the last frame here. We're going to set this to subtract. We're actually going to increase it so we don't see the circle anymore. So that's really important. And go a little bit before the end, and we're going to lower this so we actually see the circle. So it's kind of fading out that way. And then like at the beginning, we want to make sure that we also see it. So this looks all right. So we have something like that going on. We can even make this bigger if you want. You can add more feather if you want. That's completely up to you. So I think that looks all right, but then we have to move to the last frame and make sure that each time we don't see the final result. So this is going to be our bass effect. You can even make this longer and get something like this. And then like right before the end, we can press T on the keyboard, click on the stopwatch for the opacity, and like at the end, we want to set it to 0. So it also kind of fades out, a little bit of an extra. And then we can trim this comp until here. So we're going to press N on the keyboard, right click and trim comp to work area. So we have a few frames, like 18 frames or something. And we're going back to our main composition. We're going to click on our footage, and then we're going to tracker. If you don't see that, window tracker. We're going to track the camera and go and open up the advanced tab right here and check detailed analysis. Let it do its thing and we're just going to wait. And while we're waiting, I just quickly want to say how hot it is here. Maybe you see me sweating a little bit in my neck. Yeah, I'm just doing this with all these lights just so it looks good for you guys, but I'm actually dying over here. So it's really hot over here in Belgium and the air conditioning has to be out while I'm recording this tutorial. Otherwise you would have an annoying noise in the background. So yeah, it's nice of me, right? All right, so here we are back into Adobe After Effects. Yes, and we actually see these points right here on the speaker now. So that's great. We have some reference we can use. We can actually go over here, select the speaker or select all these points and then right click and create a solid and camera. If we're going to play this, we're going to see, I'm actually going to turn off the audio here. We're going to see that the solid is actually tracking pretty well according to our speaker. So that's more than good enough. We're going to click on our solid and we're also going to click on the rotation tool and just rotate it a little bit to match a little bit more in the perspective of the speaker. And we're also going to move it up, maybe even make it smaller just so we see if it's working well. Also going to rotate it a little bit more on the Y. And there we go. So that's looking all right. It's looking good. Let's see if that sticks into position. Kind of does. Like right over here, it's kind of falling because it should be like this actually, and maybe a little bit more towards the camera. And there we go. So that's good enough because we're going to do an animation here anyway. So I'm going to take off this solid and we're going to bring in our composition that we just created, Bass Circle. So right here we have this animation. We want to turn this layer into a 3D layer by clicking over here and then going to the track solid that we just created, press P and hold Shift and press R on the keyboard. That way we reveal the position and the rotation keyframes. We're going to, or the values, we're going to select these two with holding Control. You can select more multiple values at the same time. And then we're going to right click or we're going to edit, copy or Control C and then click on your base circle and Control V. That way it's in position. Of course, we have to recenter this towards the speaker itself. And there we go. And now we have this type of effect. So that's already pretty cool. Maybe it's a little bit slow, maybe it's a little bit fast. That's completely up to you. You can change everything later on by just jumping in here, selecting all your keyframes, and then I'll press U on the keyboard, selecting all your keyframes. Yeah. And then hold Alt and then dragging them in or out or making it longer. So that's completely up to you. Now we're also going to duplicate this effect and we're going to press P on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch for the position. We're going to move forward until where it kind of fades out. We're actually going to bring it in Z space. So with the Z position, we're going to bring it forward just out of frame. And now we have something like that going on. Boom. Okay, cool. Maybe you want to duplicate it once more, offset it a little bit. So we have a second wave here and that's looking great. So you can create it as crazy as you want. That's completely up to you. And now it's up to you to also go into the track. So I'm going to import a song. I'm using this song right here from Livido Beats, Glacial. It's also featuring Rednick. So they worked on this together. Two of like the most amazing beat producers online. So that's really nice. And yeah, they produce some really quality stuff. So I will link to that in the description below. And if I press L twice on the keyboard, it's going to show me the waveforms of this file. So I'm going to kind of shift it over. It's going to take me a while until I have the drop. Like right here, I have a drop. Woo! Okay, this is too hot. Okay, we're going to press L twice on the keyboard. Come on. Oh, because I'm not showing the audio, you're not seeing it, right? Okay. So right here at this bass drop, what we want to do is basically move these layers and make sure that they kind of start at that circle. So boom. Okay, cool. So that's cool. So now what we want to do is we want to select all these layers and go to edit and duplicate them. And then each time you have like a bass, like right here will be the next one. We're going to move this over. And you kind of have to listen. I'm going to put my audio a little bit more silent. And then like right here, what you want to do is kind of make sure that everything is in the right position still. So this one, we can move it over a little bit more to the left, a little bit more up. And then same for this, we're going to press U on the keyboard, go to each position and kind of recenter it, go till the end, see where it kind of ends. It's looking all right for this one. And then for this one, we're also going to make sure it starts from the circle. So you kind of have to manually do that a little bit. And you can do this as many times as you want. So now it's up to you to just select these, duplicate them, put them on top, and then move them wherever you want the base to be. So I'm not going to do this exact right now because you know the workflow. Then I'm going to click on one of these layers, select all of them holding Shift and go to Layer, Pre-compose this. And I'm going to move all the attributes into a new composition, Displacement, Map, Base. Okay. But before we do that, actually, we have to click on our camera and duplicate that as well. So Control D. Make sure you have the camera selected, and then also, or first, we're going to select all these circles and then hold Control and select the camera and go to Layer, Pre-compose this, move all the attributes, Base, Displacement, Map. Okay, so now everything is working well, and we just have one composition with all these effects in there. So now you can uncheck this layer. We don't actually need it, and we have to go into a new adjustment layer. This we have to rename it Displacement. And right here you can do either effect, like distort, and use a displacement map, and then use this as a displacement map. So that way you're going to, if you increase this numbers right here, you're going to see like right here we have already some kind of displacements. So that's looking pretty cool, but I am going to be using a plugin because it looks way cooler. So yeah, that's completely up to you. You can use this option if you want to be free, or you can use chromatic displacement from Red Giant. And oh my god, I love this effect. So let's select this and then go to a position where we have the displacement and displace amount. Let's increase that so we actually see it. But like right here, we see this kind of chromatic displacement going on, and that just looks so silky smooth. We can play with these settings like right here, see what we want to use. Okay, we can then displacement, colors, we can change them up completely. So that's looking all right. Oh yeah. I think the displacement actually has to happen a little bit faster. So I'm going to jump into that composition, select all of these, right click, time stretch, 50, and let's go back. Okay, so right here it's not on beat, but that doesn't matter. So what else do we have? We have this kick. So we want to press L again twice on the keyboard. We have the kick right here. So for the kick, I kind of want to illuminate the tweeter here. So I did this with the track solid that we hid in the first place. I'm going to check this back on, or actually I'm going to check it off and use my pen tool and then like zoom in here. And I'm just going to select a mask like this. Okay. I'm going to press M on the keyboard and click on mask path. We're going to the beginning, make sure it's still in position. Otherwise, move it over a little bit and kind of rotoscope this quickly. So right here, we're going to move this over. So that's looking all right. So that's just an easier way of rotoscoping because it's always already a little bit tracked in place. Looking good. Okay. And then we're going to enable this layer again, press F on the keyboard, increase it a little bit. And then we can also fill it. So we can go to generate, effect, generate, and add a fill. We can make this kind of a rich orange yellowish color, set it to add. Or what I also like to do is duplicate and then go to these tweet moments. So like, listen, that's like right here. And we're just going to trim it until here. And then press T on the keyboard, go 10 frames further. So I'm doing that with holding Shift and pressing the page down key, and then set it to 0. And then go to edit, split this layer. We're going to delete the last part. So now I want to search for the next one. That's right here. We want to duplicate this layer, put it over here, duplicate it, put it over here, and so on and so on. So I'm going to select all these layers again with another duplication of the 3D tracker camera. So we're going to duplicate it, select all these layers, layer, pre-compose it, move all the attributes, and this is going to be the kicks. Okay. And right here, I do see a little issue, so I'm going to move my mask over here. Just completely up to you. Take your time. Select all these layers with the camera layer, pre-compose kicks. And there we go. And then we want to add a solid composite effect. This we're going to make it black. And then search for the kick. Like right here we have one. It's kind of really bright here. And if we fit it up to 100% and we set the mode to additive, we're going to see this kind of tweet lighting up. So we have this kind of effect, but we want to add something else to this so we can actually search for the perfect glow preset. And if you don't have that already, you can actually go ahead and download that on our website for free. So why wouldn't you? It's a really powerful glow preset that just makes the glow much richer than the original glow in Adobe After Effects. So now we have this kind of nice glow. We can play with the opacity and like however you want, increase the glow intensity if you want, like right here, and play with the radius. But you see these multiple layers of glow and that just looks so rich and so beautiful. So now we have these kicks and the bass. Okay. Another thing that I've done is I added some screen shake on top of my bass, so it actually shakes the entire screen a little bit, so it looks like it's really heavy. So we're going to use this, rename this to shake. And then I'm going to add a motion tile effect, a transform effect, and see how handy this tool is. This is actually Effects Console. If you don't know what this is, it's a plugin for free as well. That just makes it a lot faster to work in After Effects. Slider control and duplicate the slider control. So we have a motion tile, a transform, and 2 slider controls. We're going to alt click on the position for the transform right here. And then we're going to write a simple expression. So we're going to write wiggle open parentheses, and then take with your pick whip tool the first slider right here, comma, and the second slider right here, close parentheses. And there we go. Then we're going to click mirror the edges for the motion tile effect and set it to like 125, 125. And then we're going to search the moment when the bass actually kicks in really heavy. We're going to click on the stopwatch for the slider control and set the slider control to 15 for the speed and for the amount maybe to 50. We're going a few frames backwards, set these two to 0. And we're actually adding keyframes to our timeline at this moment right here. And then like go 10 frames forward in time and set it to like 0. We're going to select the last keyframes, right click, keyframe assistance, easy ease, so they come to a slow stop. And we want to go in the graph editor, select these 2 keyframes, zoom in a little bit until you see this right here. And actually, we just want the handlebars right here, and we're going to bring these in so we have something like that. Okay. So it's coming to a slow stop. So that's cool. Now you can go over here to these keyframes, increase the bass, maybe the speed, whatever you want. And we can also go into use composition shutter speed, check it off and set it to 180. We're going to have a lot more blur, maybe 90 is more than enough. So we have some blur while it's actually shaking, so that's really cool. Okay. Then I'm going to add another adjustment layer on top of that. So new adjustment layer. And this is going to be the exposure. So we want to brighten up our scene while it's also going heavy in the bass so it looks more intense. So we're going to color correction and go for the exposure effect. Press U on the keyboard for the shake. So right here we have the shake at its maximum. So right here we also want to have the exposure to its maximum. So maybe set to 2. And then create a new keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch, go 2 frames backwards, set it to 0. And then at the exact same moment of the stop of the shake, we're going to set it to 0. Also, you can press and also make this easy ease and go into graph editor and everything else. Okay, so it's the same workflow. And now you could do this essentially on every, even on the kick. So like right here, boom. And you can do the same thing with the shake. Maybe not on the kick, but just on the bass. And then we have something like that. Okay, cool. Another thing we could do is actually go into the displacement map for the base circles and take one circle that actually moves forward, copy that, Control C, go back to your main composition and paste it right here. And this is going to be like one that we can color. So as you can see, it's actually right here and it's lightening up. The first base, you can actually offset it a little bit, kind of, yeah, do a lot of fun things with that. Set the screen maybe to additive and go to edit and go for like a generate here and set it to fill and choose a color that you like. So maybe something like blue. There we go. And now you have some kind of extra stuff going on. And there you go. And you can offset these as many times as you want. So how cool is that looking? And you also have these kind of little snares that are happening, these going on. So you have these little snares, and maybe over there you also want to do an effect, some kind of small things. So we could actually have these small circles coming out and play with these and kind of offset these on the snares. And then just making sure that these are on the same moment, so you can then offset each of these, put them on top, and kind of have something silly working out here. So I'm not going to go in too much detail for these, because it's basically the same workflow that we just already did. So yeah, play with that, make the circles maybe smaller initially and stuff like that. So that's already looking pretty amazing. We can duplicate that base circle, bring it over here as well, and then we have that kind of, there we go. And again, you can also make sure that it's always in the circle starting out. Maybe you want to even fly it through the camera, so you want to make sure that, like, if you go to that last keyframe, we move it more. We move it like more to the left and maybe even up, so it's passing through the camera. That's looking cool. And there we have our effect. So that's basically it. It's a really fun way of experimenting with sound waves and just visualizing the sound in your video. I think it's a pretty cool effect. Also be sure to check out Atom Audio with links in the description below. They're really amazing and they're actually being used by all these amazing producers. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Go and check out my other videos. They're pretty amazing as well. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. Apart from that, I see you in the next one, and until then, create epic videos.